6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Aisha Nayab. First, the headlines. Eid Miladun-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be celebrated with profound religious zeal and fervor tomorrow. Prime Minister visited Masjid Nabawi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, offered nawafil and paid respects to Roza Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Foreign Minister has renewed Pakistan's call for a viable, independent and contiguous Palestinian state with pre-1967 borders and Al-Quds Al-Sharif as its capital. Information Minister says China-Pakistan Economic Corridor has provided significant investment in energy, infrastructure and communication sectors of Pakistan. The United Nations Secretary General has called on international donors to make good on their funding pledges for recovery efforts in flood-affected areas of Pakistan. All Parties Hurriyat Conference says occupation troops and secret agencies of New Delhi are engaged in creating terror through cordon and search operations. And now the news in detail. Eid Miladun-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be celebrated with great religious zeal and fervor across the country tomorrow. The day will dawn with 31-gun salute at the federal capital and 21-gun salute at all the provincial capitals. Special prayers for the unity of Muslim Ummah and progress and prosperity of the country will be offered in the mosque after Fajr prayers. Special conferences, events and Mahfil Milad are being arranged to pay tribute to the last messenger whose life and teachings are a beacon of light for the whole mankind. Buildings, streets, roads, mosques and houses have been decorated with colorful lights in connection with the auspicious occasion. Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar visited Masjid Nabawi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, offered nawafil and paid respects at Roza Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He also visited International Fair and Museum on Biography of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Islamic civilization adjacent to Masjid Nabawi. The caretaker Prime Minister was given a briefing about the historical museum, which showcases the life and teachings of Holy Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and different aspects of Islamic civilization. The Prime Minister expressed his deep appreciation for the museum and lauded the efforts made to preserve the Islamic heritage. On the occasion, Secretary Board of Directors of the museum, Dr. Nasir Misfar Al-Zahrani, presented the Prime Minister with a shield and book symbolizing the cherished connection between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia in promoting Islamic heritage and fostering mutual understanding. President Dr. Arif Alvi has stressed the need for increasing trade activity and enhancing the volume of the country's exports to ensure economic stability. The President expressed these views at a meeting with the delegation of the Islamabad Industrial Association in Islamabad today. Dr. Arif Alvi said investment in information technology and boosting its exports would prove helpful in attaining the goals of development. The delegation apprised the President of the contribution of industrial sector in promoting exports of the country. It also highlighted the challenges faced by the traders and businessmen. Caretaker Foreign Minister Jalil Abbas Jalani has renewed Pakistan's call for a viable, independent and contiguous Palestinian state with pre-1967 borders and Al-Quds Al-Sharif as its capital. Responding to a question at a news conference in Islamabad this afternoon, he categorically stated that Pakistan's position on the issue of Palestine is consistent and there is no change in its stance over the matter. He said, may it be Palestine and Kashmir, Pakistan has always called for honoring people's right to self-determination. Replying to another question, the Foreign Minister said Pakistan expects that Afghan interim setup will respect their commitment made with the international community to not allow use of Afghan soil to carry out terrorist attacks against any country. The Foreign Minister further responded that the Federal Cabinet has approved a policy to expel all illegal foreign nationals from Pakistan and that policy does not aim at targeting any particular country. He, however, made it clear that this policy will not affect registered Afghan refugees residing in Pakistan. Caretaker Minister for Information and Broadcasting Murtaza Solanki says China-Pakistan Economic Corridor has provided significant investment in Pakistan's energy, infrastructure and communication sectors. In a conversation with China Media Group's Urdu service in Beijing, he said Belt and Road Initiative offers plentiful opportunities of progress for many developing nations, including Pakistan. The Information Minister expressed confidence that relations between Pakistan and China will further strengthen and become more stable. He said Pakistan has now entered into the new phase of CPEC as ongoing projects such as ML1 will prove as a milestone in the rail service of country. The minister also expressed his confidence that the upcoming visit of the top leadership of Pakistan to China next month will usher in a new era in relations between the two countries. He said that despite changing global political landscape, Pakistan-China relations are improving each passing time. Earlier, speaking at an informal meeting of the UN General Assembly convened to review the implementation of its last year's resolution calling on the world community to increase aid and support recovery. The UN Secretary General said $9 billion were pledged by rich nations in the aftermath of the disaster, but the vast majority was in loans and Pakistan is still waiting for much of the funding. He said delays are undermining Pakistan's effort to rebuild the lives of people and reconstruct the country. This is Radio Pakistan. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on international donors and financial institutions to make good on their funding pledges in support of recovery efforts in flood-affected areas of Pakistan. In a tweet, Antonio Guterres said he will never forget the climate-related carnage which he saw after apocalyptic flooding submerged one-third of Pakistan. The All-Party Hurriyat Conference has said that India armed forces and secret agencies are creating an atmosphere of terror and fear through a vicious circle of coordinated search operations in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The All-Party Hurriyat Conference at an executive meeting in Srinagar said Indian troops and personnel of National Investigation Agency and State Investigation Agency are targeting freedom-loving Kashmiri people. The meeting appealed the UN Secretary General and the World Human Rights Organizations to force New Delhi to settle the Kashmir dispute in accordance with the Security Council resolutions. North Korea has adopted a constitutional amendment to enshrine its policy on nuclear force. According to the state media, the country's leader has pledged to accelerate production of nuclear weapons to deter any threat by United States. The Supreme People's Assembly, the country's parliament, unanimously adopted the revision that states North Korea develops high nuclear weapons to ensure its right to exercise and to deter war. In India, authorities have imposed a curfew in several areas of Manipur state after dozens of students were injured in violence following protest against abduction and murder of 2 students. Ethnic violence in the state turned into intense civil war, being fought over land, jobs and political clout between its 2 largest tribal groups. A senior police official said indefinite curfew has been implemented in Imphal and in some other district. On the other side, an unruly mob has set an office of the Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party on fire in the state. In India, massive crackdown continues against Khalistan movement activists, especially dual nationality holders of Canada. National Investigation Agency today raided multiple locations in Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh and arrested dozens of Sikh leaders and workers. Meanwhile, caving in to the U.S. pressure, New Delhi has said that it is now open to looking into any specific information the Canadian provide in the killing of Sikh leader. The killing led to a row after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau disclosed the Sikh leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot dead in Surrey by Indian intelligence agents. In the 19 Asian Games hockey at Hangzhou, Pakistan beat Uzbekistan by 8-2 goals in the preliminary Pool A match today. For Pakistan, Ahmed Arbaz scored 5, Rana Abdul Wahid Arshad and Afraz scored 3 goals each, while Muhammad Umar Bhutta and Abdur Rahman scored 2 goals each. In squash, Pakistan's Muhammad Asim Khan defeated Al-Meze Abdullah of Kuwait by 3 sets 11-7, 11-6 and 13-11. And finally, the weather report. Mainly dry weather is likely to prevail over most plain parts of the country, while hot in southern parts during the next 12 hours. However, rain with wind and thunderstorm with hailstorm in isolated places is expected in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Islamabad, Pothohar region, upper and central Punjab, Kashmir, and Gilgit-Baltistan. Snowfall over high mountains in upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Kashmir, and Gilgit-Baltistan during the same period. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/radio